Hey everybody, and welcome back to a special episode of The Verdict, actually. Today we're actually going to be doing something quite different. We're going to be doing an old versus new episode, and this one is going to be focusing on the timeless horror classic, Carrie. We're going to be going against the 2013 version and the original 1976 version, so stick around. So we're going to be having our two lovely defendants, Alexis and Kaleb. Alexis, however, introduce yourself and which version you'll be defending.
Hi, I'm Alexis and I will be defending Brian De Palma's 1976 version. Here, let's go ahead and look at that trailer.
It's the night of the senior prom. The Bates High School gym is alive with excitement. Everybody is there, even Carrie White, the girl no one likes.
We're all sorry about this incident, Cassie.
It's Carrie!
And everyone makes fun of her.
Free, Carrie!
The girl who lives in that creepy house with her crazy mother.
Help the sinning woman see the sin of her days and ways. Show her that if she had remained sinless, the curse of blood would never have come on her.
The girl with the strange power.
If I concentrate hard enough, I can move things.
But tonight, no one will laugh at Carrie.
If you don't have a date for the prom next Friday, would you like to go with me?
She's with the best-looking boy in the senior class.
He's trying to trick me again.
She'll be voted queen of the prom.
You know, I can make sure that you don't hurt Carrie White anymore.
For Carrie, it will be a dream come true. For everyone else, it will be a nightmare.
And I'm Kaleb, and I will be supporting Kimberly Pierce's 2013 remake. Let's take a look at that trailer.
This was always such a peaceful town.
I don't want to use the word conspiracy, but that's what it's looking like.
Her mother was a fanatic. I don't know how she lived with her.
To believe something supernatural happened here defies logical explanation.
There's one thing no one seems to understand. She wasn't some monster. She was just a girl.
Well, now that we've seen both trailers for both movies, now we get into the real meat and potatoes. Let's finally figure out which one's better, the old version or the new version. To start out with, no Carrie story is complete without seeing which one had the better story in general, which one truly grasped the concept of the original novel. So, I'll give it to you guys. Convince me.
Would you like to go first?
Absolutely. So, obviously the original is going to be the best as far as the story because they literally came up with it. So, it's basically a teen girl figuring out that she somehow has powers, but her mother has kept her in the dark her whole life. She knows nothing, and she's being bullied over not knowing.
Well, the original definitely has the credits of being older. It has that, of course, but older does not always mean better, and we know that. I'd say that the new movie, coming out in 2013, with better practical effects, better special effects, I believe that is able to show off the story of Carrie better, in my opinion. I think that the cast and the filmmaking itself is better due to the directions given by Kimberly Pierce.
I do agree with you in that aspect, but in the original version, I did feel more of a connection with their Carrie and their just characters in general. Their story was more compelling, and plus, around that time, around the 70s, I felt as though it was more believable, at least the bullying and the character archetypes at the time. With the newer version, it just kind of felt a little lazy, like in terms of their story of just like copying and pasting.
Well, it's hard to improve on perfection, Rashaun. So I have to say that their idea of just like re-updating everything, but still going over the story beats I feel like it was a brave decision to make, and they sort of updated it a bit, adding smartphones into it, adding social media to it, YouTube, which was a burgeoning thing. They added that to sort of update the story. And I feel like the cast itself was great with the new actors and the less cartoony villains, I think.
You know what? That does have an interesting point. And I do agree, with a new modern take, you do have to update it for modern day audiences. So, I kind of agree with you on there. So, in that kind of terms and agreement, I'm going to give the point to the new one on this. I feel like the new one, though, has a better story and a unique story, mixing it with modern day. But that's just me. Now, obviously, no story is truly complete without a good villain or antagonist. And in Carrie, pretty much everybody is an antagonist in this film. So, which one really captures the true evil in this town?
I'll have to say, while I love the original, I love the movie. 1976, great year. I was alive during then. It was great. I will have to say, though, that the 2013 version with Chris and Billy, I believe that it was better. It showed them more as a bad couple, a more realistic couple, in my opinion. Less of the cartoony sort of 1976 versions, where they were just cruel and reasonable of people just are cruel.
The problem with that is the new one completely changed how Carrie acted. Honestly, I thought they were trying to make her the villain in the new one. Whereas the old one, it's such a sad story. Like you guys were saying, everyone was bullying her. Everybody was the villain. But it does touch on Chris and Billy more, how they were just so terrible to her. And even her mother, who was supposed to protect her, has put her in harm's way.
That is one of the interesting things, though, about the original version of the film. While doing a little bit of research, I did find out that on the set of filming, most of the actors were kind of afraid to do actually some of the more violent scenes towards Carrie. But the actress insisted on it, saying that she wanted it to be authentic. Obviously, she wasn't bruised or anything like that, but she wanted it to be more authentic. Otherwise, with this newer version, obviously they had some safety guidelines that they had to go by.
That is interesting.
But in terms of the bullies, what do you guys think about that one, though? Because I feel like the bullies are vastly different between this old version and the new version, though.
That's an interesting question, Rashaun. I gotta say that comparing the 2013 version to the 1976 is quite like night and day. I feel like they're way more fleshed out, totally, of how these people are just bad and not so much evil. They're just mean. And how this happens where they say pig's blood for a pig is just way more meaningful when they actually get down and dirty with the pig. And they show that this is something that they are physically enjoying doing because they are mean people. And they're not just doing it because they're evil, super villain cruel in 1976 version. In the 2013 version, there's actually believability and hey, you took away what I wanted, with the prom. So this is my sort of revenge for it.
I get that, but they're, like you said, night and day. The very original one started off with, Chris was incredibly mean to her, and it was obvious that she wanted to do these things to her and get revenge just because she was the weird kid. Whereas in the new one, it was Billy that pushed his girlfriend, Chris, to do all of these things. She wasn't even the bad guy in that one.
She was more a victim of circumstances?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's actually something that I find more unique in the original version than it is with the newer version, at least. I don't know. It kind of just seems like it's worse off if they have no reason to do it rather than if they're forced to. So I don't know. But what about her mother?
I like the new version of the mom better, I think, in the newer version. It shows that she has been struggling with mental health issues and sort of her own issues that were more or less I'm religiously evil. It's more there's something mentally unwell with her that probably needs to be seen by a doctor. And it even mentions she's not a big fan of the school itself since they wouldn't let Carrie be homeschooled by her anymore. And it's it's way more of like a more developed character, I think, than like another cartoonishly evil person in the movie who's just everyone's against Carrie for reasons. This one shows that, like, even from the beginning scene with like she's giving birth to Carrie, there's something unwell with her straight from the jump, which I think that is a better opening than the one in the 1976 version.
On the other hand, I like that the original let you slowly figure out what was wrong with the mother, because it's obvious with the way she acted that there was something wrong with her. But in the original, they don't ever talk about the issue with the baby or what the husband did to her until almost the very end, which leads into like, what's the word? Let's see. It leads the viewers to think that there could be different ways around it, so they kind of get their own view on it.
Well, you do both bring up good, interesting points. Although, Kaleb, you talk about the villains being cartoony and whatnot, but you have to remember, it's a Stephen King movie, and Stephen King is the king of cartoony antagonists in real life. That being also said, I do think that if you're going to do some antagonists pretty well in a horror film, you got to make them pretty cruel and pretty unlikable. So, I'm going to give it to Alexis on this one. Point goes to the old. But obviously, speaking on Stephen King, which, not master of horror, but king of horror in some aspects, not all. Now, how about we talk about the scares in this film? Which ones had the best horror, best gruesome scenes in between both of these?
Hands down, you gotta go with the new one. The digital effects make everything better in this movie than compared to the 1976 version, which use like props wires that you can definitely see in the movie. The digital effect, no wires, like no fake hokey pokey tricks. It's all in front of the screen. You can see what Carrie's doing, and they're allowed to go bigger with it. Like the freaking prom scene, she's allowed to go that much bigger just because of digital effects. You can go bigger and better just because we're in the modern era now. The special effects exist, so you can go bigger and better. And like the scares, for that reason, can be better, can be more gruesome because you're not worrying about harming the actors anymore.
That is true.
While that is true, the old one isn't allowed to touch on the horror aspect as much because of the fact that Stephen King's original intention was to point out the ways of that time. It wasn't to make everyone look cruel or to show blood or this, that, and the other. It was literally to show how terrible bullying of the time was. So that's honestly horror, in my opinion, is thinking of it as yourself in Carrie's position. You are literally getting things thrown at you and you have no clue why. And then literally she gets embarrassed in front of everyone.
That is fair. Bullying has come a long way since the late 70s and 90s, in fact, but in terms of like the films in general, I do kind of agree with the terms. At least like, it's not necessarily, obviously, with Carrie, this isn't really a super bloody horror film. This is a very like gun-wrenching, oh, I can't, see this lady. I can't stand to see her be mistreated by people like this. So I think in terms of Carrie-wise, not necessarily like the scares, jump scares, and blood effects, besides the end of the film, I think we'd have to look at this more by like how it is to see her be abused by people around her, and how scary that is to know that that kind of thing happens in real life. But that's just my 2 cents on it, at least. As someone who hasn't seen the film, though, what would you tell me, though, about its kind of factors on that?
That's an interesting one. Feels like this is us being a small town, it's a very small town movie. Because you can see that, like, most of these people, they know each other. They know of each other, at least. But there's a class divide. Chris and her very rich and lavish lifestyle, and Carrie's smaller town in the smaller townhouse in the 2013 version show you just like there's a class divide here, and that could be another note of why Chris is bullying Carrie so much. And I definitely believe that it is a problem we struggle with, like even today. And you can tell people like, hey man, they're not all doing this because it's the right thing to do. They're bullying her because it's the popular thing to do, and they're going with emotions. Because Chris is definitely the queen bee, if we were to use another movie's terms, to say that why she's sort of being followed as why everyone would follow her in bullying Carrie.
I completely agree with that. It is the popular thing to do. The entire reason of that is the mob mentality of the 70s. Everybody was being rude because it was either be mean or get picked on. You can see in the film that even the girl with the glasses is obviously going with the mob mentality, because if it wasn't Carrie being picked on, it would have been her.
You know what? That does add a good factor into it. And plus, honestly, I will say in the original version, that scene with her mom pulling her into like that dark room, I feel like that's more frightening than the mom, at least in this current version, like in the 2013 version of the film. So I gotta give it to the old again. Sometimes you just know when to get the horror right.
No!
Sorry, Kaleb.
Ow!
But you got one more time to redeem yourself, because it all comes down to this last part. Obviously, the Stephen King movie, it's one of the most acclaimed films of all time, referenced down to history, so obviously we need to know who's the better Carrie. Who do you think captured it best? And Alexis, I'm more curious to hear your thoughts on it to start off with.
Okay. I would say that the original Carrie did it better simply because of the fact that they portrayed her as an innocent young girl. It was obvious that she didn't know anything about her powers, and she didn't want to hurt these people, but they had harmed her, and because of that, things started to happen to them. Whereas in that one over there, the new one, she's just evil.
No, that is not how it goes. I don't believe that exists in any way, shape, or form. I believe that in this movie, it more properly displays how when you push someone to the brink, eventually they will break. And in that prom scene, they've pushed Carrie over the edge. And I believe in the 2013 version, it is more properly displayed of like Carrie's breakdown, or like breaking point better, because you can see the glee in her eyes and what she's doing. And it's definitely because like she is enacting a sort of vengeance on all of those who have hurt her before. And you know, not to sound like a psychopath, we've all had those like moments where it's like, I wish that like all those people who's wronged me, I wish I could find a way to sort of like, how do I word this in a way that's monetized friendly? Make them feel unwell in a good way, I'd say. You know, Rashaun? Because we've had moments like that, you know, like you used to be my manager at a Regal, and you know, there are moments where I'm like, man, I wish Rashaun's shoelace would untie right now. And you know, that's sort of what this like prom scene was in the 2013 version, I believe. It's just a big old shoe tie unlacing part. Not like when they got trampled, but you know, that's really much how I see it.
Oh, that's fair. Honestly, again, as someone who's never seen it though, I honestly, just getting it from the trailers, I wouldn't really know which one to like say who has the better performance-wise, at least from the trailers, because there was not that much scenes from them besides cowering and fear. So what would you say for that?
I'd say that the 2013 version is better because Carrie is played by an actual teenager. Chloe Grace Moretz, the actress in the 2013 version, is actually 15 at the time, which is like high school age. The one in the 1976 version, she's, I believe, 24 at the time. She's older than me. She's older than you. She's older than you. She's probably older than you. I gotta say that it's way more believable to be like, man, to be suckered in to this actress, her performance, Carrie's performance, when it's an actual teenager. I know you're sick, Rashaun, you personally. I know you personally, and you at home personally, are sick of these 80s movies where, oh my goodness, I'm a high schooler, but they're played by a 30-year-old, man.
No, it does suck when that happens. Grease, for reference, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Nobody, like to this day, I don't get why people in Grease, why they got like 30-something-year-olds to play high schoolers.
Grease, like
gross. But, like, no.
I understand where you guys are going with that. It does suck casting-wise because the younger people didn't get the chance for that. But when they cast older people that still look young enough to play that age, they can play upon their own experiences when they were that age.
That is true as well. I have seen a lot of older actors be able to portray young type of characters. Let's say, if I can really think back, one of the characters in the Golden Compass, the teenage character, teenage boy, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was actually 30-something at the time of filming. So that was actually pretty unique to find out.
Rashaun?
But you're right.
Can we talk about Carrie? enough about your golden compasses and your platinum watches. Cheers. We're going to talk about Carrie and how Chloe Grace Moretz, I'm getting it right this time, was the better Carrie than, what was your girl's name again in 1976? Do you have it written down? It's right here. Right below you stink.
Really? You got close enough that I could smell that you actually do stink.
Oh, see, you can't give someone a point off of that. Now we're attacking our opponents?
Play nice.
Can we
I've been playing nice.
Can we do that? Can we not? Put the split screen up. We're getting out of here. I'm saying this. You should take away her points just for that. I feel so sad right now.
I feel targeted because you want to put harm upon me.
I never said that.
Okay, Chris, you're gonna bully me at the prom.
I'm making sure there's no bucket in the rafter that she planted here or you planted here, because
I'm smarter than you. I already checked.
That is beyond the point. All right, this is about Carrie. You're going off topic, and you're going off topic. We are here to talk about Carrie. All right.
Please do.
What are we talking about again? What was the point for?
Who has the best Carrie?
Oh,
who
mine.
was the better performance?
Mine, of course. Carrie's was better, and I prefer Carrie and Carrie, honestly speaking.
Carrie was the better Carrie.
Carrie was the better Carrie.
The original Carrie was the better Carrie simply because of the fact that it was obvious, like I've been saying, that she was innocent the whole time. She didn't even realize she did this to these poor people until she was in the bathtub scrubbing off the blood.
I mean, you can be innocent in either version of the film, but which one portrayed the innocence more?
The crew is agreeing with you, and it does not please me.
They should agree with me. I'm correct.
They're laughing. They're all gonna laugh at you.
They are laughing at you.
Oh, see, this is another, like, where my notes at? There.
Remember.
Yeah, check your notes. You need them.
This whole debate is a farce. It is a personal. I was led here under false pretenses. This is not who I was supposed to debate. We're gonna go with
That's
that.
correct, and I'm still cooking you.
Yeah, no, she does have a point there. Kaleb, as much as you're trying to fight with the argument here, and I do like to see that you're trying, you do gotta admit when you're defeated, and honestly, I do have to admit that the original Carrie was the better version. Sorry. But in terms of believability and acting wise, I believe that in the original version, not more so the antagonists 2%, like their acting wise, the performance wise, great. But acting dialogue wise, not believable. But Carrie's performance by everybody in it, more believable, more of a main character and whatnot. So I've got to give it to that. Sorry, Kaleb, to see how it goes. But Alexis, congratulations, and this is your first episode too on the verdict as well. So you won our old versus new. You beat Kaleb to a pulp. You're gonna take his spot. So everybody, that was just our brand new, coming back once a season episode of Old versus New. So I hope you all liked it. You know, we're gonna do more of this. We're gonna have another one in November, hopefully, with well, I'll keep it a surprise for you. But no, it's not something too far gone. Other than that, we'll see you guys next week for some classic Halloween movies. So, okay.
Let's call it friend.
Well, while he has that, we'll see you guys next week. See ya.